Broadcasting from the world headquarters of the National Floor Safety Institute is America's slip and fall guy, Russ, Kendzior.
This is America's slip and fall guy, Russ, Kendzior. Thanks for listening to my podcast. In fact, thanks for listening to my first podcast. So you're going to probably ask yourself, well, what's this all about? What does this slip and fall guy have to talk to me about? Well, I'm here to tell you about everything related to slips, trips, and falls. And we'll offer a wide range of information, education, and from time to time advice on how you can prevent being the victim of a slip and fall, or how you can prevent others from becoming a victim of a slip and fall. So it's all about providing you up-to-date information about what is today America's leading health crisis. That's right, same level slips, trips, and falls. According to the Centers for Disease Control, over 8 million people last year sought emergency room treatment for a fall, of which 33,000 died. Gosh, 33,000 of our fellow Americans died as a result of a fall. We can do better. In fact, the Bureau of Labor Statistics just announced this year that same level slips, trips, and falls are the leading cause of workplace injury and one of the leading causes of workplace fatalities. This epidemic is one that the federal government may soon act upon. With an estimated annual cost of $100 billion, falls are not funny. So you ask yourself, what's being done about this crisis? Well, not a whole lot. However, change is on the way. Through the efforts of the National Floor Safety Institute, otherwise known as the NFSI, and you'll be hearing me talk about them quite a bit in the upcoming episodes, new standards, educational programs, and research is underway, all of which is designed to prevent accidental falls. And even government regulations may soon be introduced to assist consumers as they select floors. Many of today's product manufacturers have already adopted these NFSI standards and voluntarily submit their products to the NFSI for product certification. NFSI is one of the leading testing organizations in the United States for slip, trip, and fall prevention and serves as the ANSI-accredited standards developer for slip, trip, and fall prevention. Today, there are over 400 products that have been certified by the NFSI. So the next time you go to the market, look for the NFSI certified label. It's your guarantee that the product you're about to select is in compliance with the new national standards for safety. This podcast is for you, the safety expert, the risk manager, or the insurance professional. It's also for you, the attorney, who's working on a slip, trip, and fall case, and it doesn't really matter if you're a plaintiff or a defense attorney. It's also for you, the product manufacturer, who wants to make sure that your products don't contribute to your customer's slip and fall problem. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, if you're someone that has been the victim of a slip and fall or know somebody that has, this podcast is for you. Over the upcoming weeks, you're going to hear a lot about the subject from a wide range of industry leaders, product manufacturers, entrepreneurs, and product innovators. You're also going to hear from those in the standards developing industry, architects and designers. You're going to hear interviews of medical professionals, safety professionals, and insurers. And yes, you're going to hear from attorneys. We may even have a few celebrity interviews. But lastly, you're going to hear from victims, real people telling their personal stories, oftentimes tragic stories, about how their lives changed due to a serious fall. I will also keep you up to date as to major changes in the world of safety and speak with those in the media. But Slip and Fall Guy is not just about information, it's also a bit entertaining. In upcoming episodes, I'm going to share real-world stories of real people who had filed a slip and fall or trip and fall lawsuit, which served as the basis of my third book entitled Floored, Real-Life Stories of an Expert Witness. So you ask yourself, why the title Slip and Fall Guy? Well, that's what people call me, Russ Kendzior, the Slip and Fall Guy. And for the last 25 years, I've been heavily involved in this field of an expert in slips, trips, and falls. After graduating from college, I did a 5-year brief stint in the flooring industry and learned from my customers just how big and chronic the problem of slips and falls was. And went to my management and asked, well, can we do anything to help our customers address the problem? Which sadly, they said, well, have them call our attorney. Well, that didn't seem to make a lot of sense. That didn't resonate very well with me. Instead of providing some level of customer service, we pretty much abandoned our customers. And sadly, not a lot has changed. The floor covering industry doesn't really provide a lot more today than they did then. So I went out and started my first company. This goes back to 1990, called Traction Plus. Traction Plus was a manufacturer of a wide range of products, which I developed. In fact, the first product I developed was called Traction Plus TP 321 and TP 421. These were floor cleaning and safety treatment products that were originally developed for the fast food industry, for the restaurant industry, and became a successful line very, very quickly. Why? Well, because slips, trips, and falls are the leading cause of injury in really most industries, including the restaurant industry. So there was a big problem then, and sadly, it's just continued to get bigger. But Traction Plus was more than just chemicals. We developed one of the first lines of slip-resistant footwear in partnership with Walmart stores. The line was entitled Traction Plus Tread Safe Shoes. Tread Safe shoes are still available through Walmart stores, both in the United States and Canada, and was really the first line of slip-resistant footwear designed for workers in the workplace, whereby they were affordable. Prior to the Traction Plus Tread Safe brand or line, safety shoes were expensive. And when we introduced our line, an average employee, average worker in the fast food industry who is making minimum wage can afford the shoes. In fact, they were $16 or $17 per pair. So we really pioneered the industry of walkway safety. Additional divisions of the company included floor matting, floor signs, and chemicals for safety treating bathtubs in the hotel industry. It was about the mid-1990s when a new division was created called the Traction Plus Floor Safety Institute. And this was an educational arm of the company designed really to educate, inform customers as to what was really going on. Why were they having so many slips, trips, and falls? And it soon took off. In fact, it became a very, very successful part of Traction Plus, so much so that it was spun off in 1997 as the National Floor Safety Institute, which is still in business today. And so my background and experience in preventing slips, trips, and falls really made me the slip and fall guy. Another area that became kind of prominent was work as an industry expert, as an expert witness. I was getting calls from time to time from attorneys representing both plaintiffs and defendants on cases involving slips, trips, and falls, and did that for many, many years. In fact, I still do that. It was just a few years ago, however, that the Traction Plus Expert Witness Division spun off into its own separate company called Traction Experts, which is my consulting company that I perform services as an expert witness representing both plaintiffs and defendants. So I've learned a lot, and here we are today talking about a subject that I would have hoped 25, 30 years ago would be in a far better state, but it's not. In fact, falls are worse today than they were in the past. Why? Well, a lot of it has to do with who's falling. The most likely victim of a slip, trip, and fall is an elderly person, actually an elderly woman, over the age of 60. Well, look around. The baby boomers are all getting older and retiring. In fact, we're retiring at a rate of 10,000 per day. And unlike our parents' generation, baby boomers are more active. They're out and about, they're shopping and vacationing and eating out more. And because of that, their exposure to a slip, trip, and fall is greater. The cost for medical treatment for the elderly, specifically the baby boomers, as it relates to falls, is astronomical. It's a huge problem. And so you ask yourself, what are we doing about it? Well, this podcast is, well, one of the things I'm doing about it. Many of you may know me as an author. I've written 3 books on the subject of slip, trips, and falls. But in the end, I'm a passionate advocate for injury prevention. That's what I do. I am the slip and fall guy. You see, falls aren't funny, and they affect every one of us. I mean, these are your family members, your moms, your dads, your brothers, your sisters. These are your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers. And you know, maybe you can be the next victim. After all, as I like to say, as long as there's gravity, people will fall. So, don't let your next step be your last step. And with that, this is America's Slip and Fall Guy, Russ Kendzior, thanking you again for listening to my first podcast, which there's going to be quite a few more to come. Talk to you soon.